Hey guys, Steven here with STS Pickleball, and there has been a ton of changes to the top 5 high spinning paddles in pickleball lately, so without further ado, let's dig straight into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Honolulu J2Ti Plus. The first J2Ti Plus I received was a pre-production model, and it was averaging in the 2200 to 2220 RPM range. The owner of Honolulu is always trying to push the boundaries and hit new legal levels of grit, so he sent me out a brand new J2Ti Plus when the paddle fully released and basically said, try it now. So I took it out and did some spin testing with it, and man, it was a ripping spin. The J2Ti Plus comes in at 2319 RPM and is number 5 in my database right now. I love when companies really try to push the legal boundaries of what is possible. And the crazy thing is that this fully titanium Gen 3 paddle comes in at only $148.50 after you take 10% off with discount code STS10. The nice thing with my top 5 spin videos is there is zero bias going into this, as these are objective metrics. I do 20 serves and calculate the RPM of every single serve, and then I average it out for every paddle in my database. Honolulu is really onto something here, that's for sure, especially with these grit levels. They are absolutely crazy. The ball dips so hard over the net that my drive drop combos make my opponents have to hit up on the ball, which is very ideal, usually resulting in a pop-up for a quick end of the point. So it's really fun to play with. Okay, so coming in at number 4, we have the unMarked paddle. This one hasn't been released yet. It was originally set to release on the 1st of March, but USAP is backed up right now and paddle approvals have been moving a bit slower lately. The owner did tell me that the new unMarked paddle will either be dropping on the 15th of March or the 22nd of March. So that's all the info that I currently have on the potential release date. The unMarked came in with an averaged out RPM rate of 2322 RPM. The unMarked is priced at $175, and you can take 10% off and save some money with code STS Pickleball, making it just $157.50, which is a really good price for that much RPM. The unMarked is an elongated paddle with a core cell size of 10 millimeters, the same cell size you'd find in newer Paddletech Bantam paddles. This is relevant because not only does the unMarked have top tier grit on the face, but those 10 millimeter cells in the core give the ball a really nice pocketing feeling. There's a ton of dwell time with this paddle. You don't normally find this much dwell time with most elongated paddles, to be quite honest. They tend to be a bit more rigid than their hybrid or standard shaped counterparts. So the unMarked, with its crazy grit, solid dwell time, and elongated shape, give it a ton of whip, a ton of friction, and that extra pocketing, which results in absolutely top tier spin numbers. As far as power goes, the unMarked is right at the top of all court leaning power. It's not as hot as some of the Gen 3s on the market, but it has much better control overall, and I've honestly been really enjoying this paddle. So coming in at number 3, we have the Honolulu J2K Plus. So the exact same thing happened here, where I received the pre-production model, and that one was coming in at about 2200 to 2220 RPM, and then the owner sent me the production model when it was released, and it was noticeably grittier on the face. I then did my 20 serves and averaged the RPM value of those 20 serves to a whopping 2324 RPM. I've honestly been really enjoying this one lately. This is an absolute top pick for me right now. So one question you might have, given the refresh program that they have on their website, is, hey, STS, is this paddle going to be durable, or is it going to break down quickly? And all I have is my own subjective experience with this paddle and all the comments of people sharing their experiences with it. And I haven't heard of anyone core crushing or breaking in the J2K Plus to where it's too hot to handle or where it actually feels broken. I did speak to the owner about this, and he told me that due to the YOLA situation with their Gen 3s and seeing some other Gen 3 battles break down quickly, he wanted to be transparent and offer a program before something happened rather than after. So I really appreciate the transparency there. But I have to say, I've had mine for months now, and I play with it constantly, and I have only noticed it get more plush over time. It still maintains its Gen 3 power and pop, but it's not as rigid as it was at first and hasn't broken or become overly powerful at all for me. The grit has held up really well over the 3.5 months of play that I've put on mine. The J2K Plus is also the cheapest Gen 3 paddle, generally speaking, and is also the best price to RPM ratio on this list, as it comes in at a price of $145 after discount code STS Pickleball, which saves you $20 on all of Honolulu's Kevlar specific paddles. At $145 for a Gen 3 paddle with top 1% spin out of every single paddle in the space, this is a no-brainer for me, but let's see how number 2 stacks up. So coming in at number 2, we have the Carbon TruFoam Genesis 2 at 2342 RPM. This full foam Gen 4 paddle scrapped the use of polypropylene cores and went with an entirely foam crafted core. This full foam core does come with some pros and some potential cons though. So the pros are that as of right now, there is no chance of core crushing as there are no polypropylene cells to crush. These paddles could still potentially delaminate depending on the strength of the materials used to adhere the face sheets together in the construction of the paddle. But overall, as far as durability goes, it seems like the TruFoam Genesis series as a whole has solved the issue of core crushing. The couple of cons that come to mind with the TruFoam Genesis Series 1 are the price. It does come in at $280, which you can bring down to $252 with code STSPickleball. And 2, the feeling off the face is definitely different than a traditional polypropylene core paddle. It does take some getting used to. Once you get used to it, it's not as big of a deal, but I have to say when I first picked up this paddle, I didn't totally care for the feeling. I actually didn't really like it very much at all, but I've grown to really like it now and have it in my main rotation when I'm playing seriously and not testing new paddles. The face isn't as gritty as the last 3 on this list, so it seems this new foam core has increased dwell time, which must be the reason it's getting such solid spin numbers. So props to Carbon for pushing the envelope and really creating something unique and new in the space. It's honestly really nice to see companies innovate and utilize the resources to push paddle tech forward. And coming in at the big number 1 spot, we have the Carbon TruFoam Genesis 3, which my dad is actually playing with right now. This version is the elongated shape with the shorter handle, and this paddle averaged out to a whopping 2345 RPM in my testing, coming in at the same price point as the Genesis 2 at $280. And of course, you can always use my code STSPickleball to save 10%, which works on every website in the space. One thing you'll notice in this list is that all 5 of these paddles are in a pretty tight cluster here at the top these days. The spread between number 5 and number 1 is only 26 RPM, so not a huge spread. The Carbon TruFoam Genesis 3 really does get some major dip over the net with that increased dwell time from the full foam core that we talked about before. You get that elongated sweet spot from the larger face. The only downside here is the grip length at 5.25 inches, which makes two-handed backhands a bit tight, but you can't deny this paddle objectively has the highest spin in the game right now, and it shows in play. So one thing I did notice, because the TruFoams are getting their spin from dwell time primarily, is that I'm not really able to get quite as much spin on my dinks and my drops with these in comparison to other paddles on this list. So that's something to keep in mind when we talk about the difference between dwell time RPM and grit-based RPM. Lastly, I will note that the first 3 paddles on this list are close to half of the price of the TruFoam paddles. At $145 after discount code for Gen 3 construction, no breakdown or crazy break-in to speak of in my personal experience, and in the experience of tons of comments I've received getting feedback on the durability of this paddle, and the fact that it comes in at 2324 RPM is just hard to argue against. You know, I'm always about saving you time, and in the end, hopefully saving you some money and helping you navigate the paddle space as a whole. So that's why I like to do these final analysis and comparisons at the end of my video so you don't walk away with any questions. That being said, you just can't go wrong with really any paddle on this list, as they are all top tier paddles right now. So click here if you want to check out the best rated ball machine of 2024 and still in 2025. Subscribe for more videos just like this one. Have a freaking wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.